Right guys, I'm just going to take you through the most effective way to train and just get the most out of your training. Essentially, if you want to change your physique and change how you look, you have to be building muscle. And if you're not training properly, if your intensity isn't there, if your tempo's not there, if your form's not there, you're not going to change how you look. So it's very important that we just look at this video, take some notes from it, and then start applying it to your own training. Now, realistically, I would say 95% of people in the gym don't actually train effectively. Training properly, with good intensity, with good form, with good tempo is a skill. It's a skill that you need to practice, and it's a skill you will get better at. Now, if you don't hold much muscle, it's going to be a little bit harder for you to get the right connection in that muscle. But as time goes on, as you get better, you'll start to feel the muscle contracting and getting used to it. So, like I said, be patient, be consistent, and just learn and put in the effort in learning as well. What we're going to discuss today is training tempo, training intensity, warm-up sets, and working sets. So what is tempo? Tempo is just the speed of each rep. Now, the speed in which you do your reps is going to be more important than how much you're lifting. If you're lifting a very heavy weight and you're just throwing it around, you're not going to be getting enough tension in the muscle. Tension in the muscle is what makes it grow. Now, without getting too scientific into it, but what tension is let's say you're doing a bicep curl. When it's stretched, there's tension. When you're squeezing, there's tension. If you're rushing it, there's no tension. So we need to go slow. We need to contract, squeeze, and we need to go slow on the way down as well. That is what will make your muscles grow. Your reps will only fatigue your heart rate rather than your muscle. So if you're swinging around, smashing it, oh, I'm knackered. Yeah, you're knackered, but your muscle isn't knackered. And that's the difference between training for muscle building and changing physique to just training for general fitness. There is a big difference between the two. We have to fatigue the muscle for it to change. So we need to focus on the control of the movement. Controlled aggression is key, but also slow reps on the way down is also key. So make sure we're focusing on the stretch. So 1 second up, squeeze, 3, 2, 1. I'm creating tension in the bicep. Your reps should go this slow on every movement that you do. I'm not burning out my heart rate here. All I'm doing is fatiguing the muscle. And each rep gets harder and harder and harder. But as you notice, I'm not changing my form. I'm even giving myself a little hand, going slow on the way down. So I'm not rushing it. Every rep is the same. And that is what's going to make your muscles grow. Creating tension for a long period of time. If I was rushing this rep, let's say I did 10 reps really quick, that set would take about 20 seconds. And that just shows that you need to focus on the tempo, because that is what's going to make your muscles grow. It's not about throwing weight around. It's about controlling the weight and making it as difficult as you possibly can with that weight. So that's training tempo. Slow on the way down, a little bit more explosive on the way up. Training intensity. How hard do we need to push it in the gym? We need to be training close to or absolute failure. But what does this mean? With good form, the last 1 or 3 reps should be a real struggle. As you just saw in that last video, I started to use my hand to help me up, and that's because I fatigued the muscle. That's because I've gone extremely close to failure. As long as you're struggling on the last few reps towards the back end of your set, you are training hard enough. If you go through your set, 15 reps, it's not that hard. You're not going to, there's no point training. There really isn't. You need to be putting in the effort in your training. Intensity is measured through weight, tempo, sets, and reps. So number 1, the weight needs to be heavy enough for you to be struggling in that rep range. The tempo needs to be controlled, like we just saw in that video, 3, 2, 1. And then sets and reps. Obviously on the app, I tell you what sets and reps to use. You only need 10 or 15 working sets for the muscle to grow. I see a lot of people in the gym, they do 20, 30 sets, they spend 2 hours on chest, and it is completely pointless. Your muscle can only grow to a certain point. It can only be stimulated enough in that one session. We don't need to be doing loads and loads and loads and loads of sets. If you do 10, 15 really hard working sets, you're going to change your physique, and it's going to be, the workout's going to be quicker. You're going to see better results, and you're actually going to fatigue the muscle. This is training intensity. So this is kind of my last 5 reps. As you can see, I'm really struggling to push it, but I'm still keeping that control on the way down. Really struggling, keeping it going, keeping my form, not letting anything else take over. I probably had 1 or 2 reps in that set, But that just goes to show that that's how I want you to train. I want you to get close to failure. If you're leaving reps in the tank, not going to change how you look. Now, I'm going to talk to you about warm-up sets versus working sets. Don't get confused between the two. When you first start tracking your weight, you won't know exactly where your starting weight is at. This is normal. So when you go into the gym, you can look at the workout and say, right, what weight do I do at 8 reps? What weight do I do? You're not going to know, and neither am I. The only way you're going to know is by jumping on that exercise and giving it a go. Right, I did 20 kg, I got 15 reps, it felt quite easy. That means you know you can up the weight. Now, with the warm-up sets are just to get a feel of the muscle. It's not a heavy set, it's not a very intense set, it's just to get a feeling in that muscle and go for the motions. It's a bit like a tennis player. They don't just jump into a tennis game and start swinging. Before that, they do certain drills to warm up to make sure that, you know, they can hit properly and they're in that right frame of mind to actually go and perform. It's the same in the gym. Do a couple of warm-up sets, a lighter weight, more reps, go for the feel. Can I feel it in my chest? Can I feel it? Where are you feeling it? Depending obviously on the exercise. And then once you've warmed up, then you're going to start going into your working sets. Now, your working sets are the ones I want you to track. The working sets are the ones that are going to be difficult. The ones that you just saw in that last video of me really struggling. So off the back of this video, training tempo, I would always say 2 to 3 seconds on the stretch of the muscle. So if it's biceps, the stretch is here. On the way up, about 1 second, a little bit more aggressive. Same with chest pressing, 1 second up, 3, 2, 1. That's how I want you to perform the reps. That way, you're going to build muscle and you're going to fatigue the muscle. With your intensity, we need to be lifting enough weight. We need to be doing enough sets. We need to do enough reps with good form. If your form is falling off and you're not feeling it in that muscle, then you need to go a little bit lighter and you need to work on your form.